I don't know if you have noticed, but I think it's very clear that the status quo is over. What do I mean by that? Well, before I go into that, if you're new to the channel, my name's David. I talk about whatever it is that's on my mind. And today, it will be at least over a week since the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to get into who Charlie Kirk was. I'm not going to get into what has been said, really. You can do a search on that if you wish, but the point of this video is something I realized in light of this, and a buddy of mine actually messaged me about it, and I gave his response, which is essentially the essence of this video. And I'm starting to realize that many people are not happy with the way things are being run, okay? Because we all can agree that it affects everyone negatively. And when I say everyone, I want to qualify that by saying everyone you know personally, right? Maybe someone in your own income bracket that lives in another state, in another city. Even they are being affected. The only ones who probably aren't being affected are the guys at the top, right? Because they've got all the money in the world. What possibly could, something here on the ground that happens even move them? I don't think anything really does. But as for, people like you and me, people are starting to realize that the system we have is just not working in our favor. And we figured that out in many ways. I will say that for myself, it all began last year when I had to move away. Still got the boxes behind me. From a city that cared for me for 8 years. And I was promised much, and I never received. And it was heartbreaking when, that realization came to mind, and I had to make a tough decision, right? And this decision would lead to a lot of success in other areas. I would meet men from similar walks of life who are after the same thing I am, and that is living the life that you want to live, right? Claiming things that you want. And so at this point, it seems very clear that you have to go out and get those things that you want. You have to go out and not tolerate some of the malarkey that you might come across, right? I would say that the events of last week have definitely awakened a lot of people to the fact that there are things that we have tolerated for a long time, but now we won't. Because guess what? Now someone had to lose their life, right? And that's never a good thing, by the way. Just saying. Whether or not you think someone deserved it, that's not the question here. The question is, is this okay? It's never okay, if you ask me anyway. And, it rattled me, I will say. I thought, man, it is kind of weird. I don't know what the next 5 years will be like, because now I have reasons to believe that the world that I once knew is now gone. I remember thinking that when COVID happened. There was just a certain sense of unity and joy in the air. This kind of glue that kept us together. Before 2016 even. And then 2016 rolled around. Of course, we got a new president, and that definitely divided people, for sure. Not in ways that affected me personally, I'd say. But COVID then happened 4 years after that, and that changed the world. The world has never been the same since COVID. And we're still recovering from that. And now you have more events like Charlie Kirk, and people are starting to get fed up, right? And we start to see that out in the streets. People are less trusting, people are less forgiving, people are more individualistic than they ever have been before. And I think that's for good reason. It's because just doing the bare minimum doesn't guarantee you what you need to survive. That might have been true 10, 20 years ago, but it certainly is not the case anymore today. And, to have the life that you want, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Some of you guys have been doing this for longer than I have. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And that'll be the only way for you to ever get to where you need to be. You can't just rely on a 9-to-5 job anymore, it seems. You can't rely on a salary job anymore, it seems. You can't rely on Social Security anymore, it seems. It's time to think outside of the box. It's time to get out of the cage. It's time to, as a friend of mine say, kick butt and take names. And I think going forward, this is the new status quo. It's not go to university for 4 years with a piece of paper and 5-figure debts, and then hope that you get a salary job at a Fortune 500 company, and then expect to pay that off soon. And then once you're there, then your life begins. No, I think people our age and people younger than us understand that the status quo really is over here in 2025, and it will be even abundantly clear in 2026 and the years to come. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'm going to end the video here. Just something that was on my mind. And I hope that this found you well. And until next time.